Hello, I'm Cabarrus County District Court Judge Marty McGee, and welcome to Court Q&A. Today's program will focus on the child support services provided by the Cabarrus County Department of Social Services. Our guest is Angela Talley. Angela is the Program Administrator for the Department of Social Services Child Support Division. Welcome to the program, Angela.
Hi, it's nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. What are the child support services provided by the Department of Social Services?
We provide location of absent parents, establishment of paternity, support obligations, modification, and enforcement.
How large is your program? How many cases do you have? How much money do you collect on an annual basis? Those sorts of things.
We typically range in a year from about 54 to 5,500 cases. About 70% of those are under order. And last fiscal year, we collected $9,571,800, something of which we're very proud of.
Which I understand is above what you were targeted to do this year from the state?
Yes, our target was at 100% of that collection, and we were 2.16% over that.
Well, excellent. Are only financially disadvantaged people eligible to participate in the program?
No, anyone that would like assistance with either establishing a support obligation or enforcement is eligible, either through a referral if they're receiving services at the department, or either through making an application.
And how much does it cost to receive your assistance?
$25, unless we do have a split sliding scale, and if they qualify, and that's based on income, it could be $10, or if they're receiving services through the department, either in Medicaid or Work First, then there is no fee.
So the most it would cost someone is $25, but lots of folks qualify for your services without charge.
Yes.
How does someone apply to receive help?
If they are receiving Work First Medicaid, then they get option for a referral. Some of those cases are automatic referrals and are mandatory. Anyone that's interested in the services not receiving services at the department can make an application, and they can get that online either through the county website at cabarruscounty.us or ncchildsupport.com.
Well, I've taken a look at your application. It's several pages. I understand that the more information that folks provide, the better you all are going to be able to assist them. Is that correct?
Absolutely. That application serves as our beginning process. We follow that with a group interview in which we go into more depth into what the situation is and ask additional questions that might be needed. Copies of any support obligations or agreements that the parties may have are also very good at the beginning, because that helps us determine what action we might need to take.
So the best way that a parent could help prepare their case to get your assistance would be to provide as much information as they possibly can.
Sure. That would include dates of birth, last known addresses, employers, Social Security numbers, relatives, anything that might help us locate or find that person.
Things like the child's birth certificate or any prior orders entered by a court in North Carolina or another state. Is that also helpful?
Yes.
How do you all locate an absent parent?
We have a number of resources which are online resources that are automated that happen all the time. If the case is marked as a locate case, then the system is constantly searching in those automated located services. There's also a connection with the federal child support enforcement, and they also provide a number of locates for us that way. We also employ some outside services online in which we can search for folks. That's why all of those resources that I mentioned earlier are good, because the more we have, the easier it is for us to find them.
How is paternity established in cases in which that's not already been decided?
We first contact the absent parent to see if they are going to acknowledge the child, and if so, we have a form that they can sign. If not, there's also paternity testing, and then there's also determination by the court.
All right. In North Carolina, as you know, the general rule is child support is calculated by using a child support formula, and that formula takes into consideration the mother's income, the father's income, any daycare expenses that the parties have, the cost of insurance, along with other things. So of course, it's important, the numbers to any mathematical formula, the numbers that you put in are important. You primarily get those the information from the parent. That's your best source, is that correct?
We do take information from them, but we do have to verify that either through employment letters or verifications. Such as daycare, we ask them to bring that in. Then we might call the daycare center to verify if there's any question about what they've sent. Employer letters are always sent on absent parents, or we use check stubs from the parties as well.
And I guess ultimately, if there's some dispute about it and you have a court hearing, the judge makes some final decision on the numbers to put into the
Yes.
program. Is there always a court hearing to establish a child support order?
Not necessarily. Many times we're able to resolve those issues voluntarily. We have the party into the office. Of course, the client's already given us information and we verified that. We have the absent parent come in and talk with them, show them what the guidelines suggest the child support obligation to be. And if they're in agreement to that, then we complete a voluntary support agreement in which they execute there and it's notarized. Then we submit that to the court and the court accepts that as a voluntary support agreement and enters it as a court order.
Of course, the other parent would always have the opportunity to seek the guidance of counsel if they would like to, but if they choose not to do that, they can agree to a voluntary support agreement, and that way the parties wouldn't come to court. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
How is child support paid?
Most of the collection that we do is through income withholding from the employment. If they're not employed where we can do income withholding, then they make the payment directly to our vendor, which is the centralized collections operation, which is housed in Raleigh. There's a post office box, and we provide all of that information for them.
So the employer either takes it out of their check automatically, or they send it in to general collections, central collections. And how does the parent then receive the money that's paid into child support?
The client either has an option to receive it through a debit card process, which is an SMI 1 Kids card is what it's called, or either by direct deposit. The only checks that are issued from the state are sometimes the very first payment or a specialized payment of some sort.
So if someone doesn't provide a bank account that the money is put into once it's received, they receive essentially a debit card that they use to spend the child support?
They're going to get a package from the vendor that handles our debit card process, which will give them the card and ask them to activate that, in which they set up their own PIN number and handle that themselves. They're also provided with an 800 number directly to that vendor if they have issues with their account or with their card or lose it, need a replacement.
Now, you all also handle cases in which a child support order has been entered and then if the one parent doesn't pay the support as provided, what happens to that person then?
Once an account is 30 days delinquent, then we have a number of processes that we can use. We just try to start administratively with calling the absent parent to remind them, sending them non-compliance letters, and then ultimately issuing a show cause for them to come to court to show the court why they're not in contempt.
And in that instance, the person is appointed a lawyer, or they could hire a lawyer, or they could represent themselves. That's up to them, the person who has not paid child support, and they offer a reason why he or she is not paid. For someone who is not paying their child support and who has lost their job, do you all have any resources to help those folks?
We usually recommend to the court that we give them some time to go out and seek some jobs, make that list and bring it back to the court so that we can show the court and they can show the court that they're making an effort to do so. We also have a job services coordinator at the Department of Social Services. She is actually employed by the Employment Security Commission and contracted to our office, and we would be glad to schedule them an appointment with her and allow her to evaluate what their skills are and try to locate some assistance for them as well.
Well, thank you. How long does it take to process a case?
That would certainly determine upon the circumstances of each party. Every case has some different situations. We try to move a case forward within 90 days. That sometimes is very difficult because of just the process itself. But usually within 120 days, we have moved a case forward, at least through the paternity process, and then on to establishment.
So if, say if it's an establishment case and both parents have a good relationship and have agreed to provide the information voluntarily, that can happen rather quickly if, say, the parent without custody does not know where the other parent is, or the parent with custody does not know where the absent parent is, and you have to search. That's an instance where it could take considerably longer.
Yes. We will keep cases open in the locate process for up to 3 years. And after 3 years, if we don't have a successful hit at that point, then our policy allows us to close that case down because obviously we don't have any locate.
Are there some online resources that you recommend?
Yes, the county website, which is cabarruscounty.us, has a link to the Department of Social Services. If you type child support into the search engine, it will go directly to our page, and that gives you information about all of our services. NorthCarolinaChildSupport.com is also a link from that website, or you can go to that link directly. And that also has guidelines, worksheets, and the policy.
The Cabarrus County website, the first one you mentioned, that's where folks could get an application.
Yes.
How would someone check on the progress of their case?
We have a customer service center that provides service across the state. That's an 800 number. We give that to them at the point of application and at the group interview. They have a IVR, which answers basic questions without a person, and then they have people that actually answer calls beyond the IVR. They forward information to the agent. If they're unable to answer the question, they forward a work list message to the agent at the local office and get a call back. Or they can call our local office and speak to the worker directly.
And where's your office located?
We're at 1303 South Cannon Boulevard in Kannapolis.
And your telephone number is?
We're 704-920-1400.
Well, thank you very much, Angela.
You're welcome.
Those seeking child support can choose to represent themselves, hire an attorney to assist them, or seek to use the resources provided by the Cabarrus County Department of Social Services. I hope this information is helpful to you. Also, I'd like to let you know that our program is available on the Cabarrus County website as well as on YouTube. Thank you for joining us.
You good deal.